Dorit Kemsley shed new light on Paul P.K. Kemsley's parenting style during the RHOBH after show. Dorit Kemsley shares new reaction to PK's parenting. During season 14, episode 10 of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Dorit Kemsley, Erica Jane, and Bozoma St. John all gathered for dinner at Kathy Hilton's house. While eating, the subject naturally turned to Dorit's ongoing separation from Paul P.K. Kemsley and how she'd spent so many years standing up for him and his parenting style. "I think he's a very good father. Am I correct?" Kathy asked, to which Dorit responded, "Wrong." "See, I thought you were going to say yes," Kathy admitted. "I would have ordinarily. Protecting him I would," Dorit replied. "In reality, no." In a confessional, she shared more. "There are times that I think PK's the greatest father in the world, but is he the most hands-on father? The truth is, no," she added. "He would disappear and be gone for weeks and weeks without even calling the kids. I worked overtime to put in their heads that their father was trying to call, wanted to see them, missed them so much. I've protected him at all costs, no matter what, and I don't think he realizes that." During the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills after show, Dorit was able to further explain her complicated feelings about the father of her children. No, she doesn't actually think he's a bad father. Part of the reason she said what she said was that she just received a dramatic 9-page email from her estranged husband. "Do I think PK is a bad father? No, not at all. Do I think he's a good father? Yes, I do. Truly, he's not the most hands-on father, but there are many different ways to be a good father. I feel very lucky that my kids have PK as their father," she said. "In that moment, that's what came out of my mouth, and it's how I felt because, for me, everything that I do and the decisions that I make, even in our separation, there is never a moment that I don't consider what's best for the kids." Ultimately, Dorit has regrets about making the comment at Kathy's house. "It's one of those things, if I'm honest, that I didn't feel great about the next day," she said. How many kids do Dorit Kemsley and Paul P.K. Kemsley have? Dorit and P.K. shared 2 kids, son Jagger, 10, and daughter Phoenix, 8. P.K. also has 3 kids from a previous marriage, daughters Atlanta and Tatum, and a son Daniel. Dorit Kemsley reveals how son Jagger found out she and PK had separated. When Dorit and PK decided to split, the couple wanted to keep their children out of it as much as possible. However, Dorit revealed in episode 9 that word of the situation eventually reached Jagger. "Jagger, this morning, we were walking the dogs, and he says, 'Oh, can I talk to you, Mommy?' Dorit explained. He's like, 'Are you and Daddy divorced?' While Dorit said no, they aren't divorced, Jagger asked her if she'd posted something to that effect on Instagram. Dorit Kemsley and Paul P.K. Kemsley announced their separation via Instagram. Dorit and PK had announced their separation in May 2024 via a joint Instagram post, vowing to keep their kids their priority through the split. Though it's since been deleted, that's likely the post Jagger was referring to. Dorit Kemsley sheds light on PK's parenting style, the complex journey of love, regret, and family dynamics. It was a night that many viewers of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills won't soon forget. The atmosphere in Kathy Hilton's elegant dining room was as charged as it was intimate, with 3 powerful women gathered around the table: Dorit Kemsley, Erica Jane, and Bozoma St. John. The conversation turned to the most personal of subjects, family. As Kathy Hilton innocently probed Dorit about her husband Paul P.K. Kemsley's parenting, the audience was offered a rare window into the intricate dynamics of the Kemsley family, as Dorit candidly spoke about her estranged husband and their children. Kathy, in her usual inquisitive manner, asked, "I think he's a very good father. Am I correct?" Dorit's response, however, was nothing short of unexpected. "Wrong," she said bluntly, catching Kathy off guard. Kathy, ever the conversationalist, responded with a mixture of surprise and curiosity. "See, I thought you were going to say yes. I would have ordinarily. Protecting him I would. Dorit began, her voice softening. In reality, no. It was a simple exchange, yet it spoke volumes. Here was a woman who had spent so much of her life defending her husband's role as a father, only to now express a complicated truth that perhaps had been weighing on her for a long time. In a confessional that followed, Dorit dug deeper into her feelings, revealing her true emotions about PK's parenting style. There are times that I think PK's the greatest father in the world, but is he the most hands-on father? The truth is, no, she admitted. He would disappear and be gone for weeks and weeks without even calling the kids. I worked overtime to put in their heads that their father was trying to call, wanted to see them, missed them so much. I've protected him at all costs, no matter what, and I don't think he realizes that. It was clear that Dorit, for all her apparent confidence and glamorous persona, carried the weight of years spent shielding her husband from public scrutiny, even at the expense of her own emotional well-being. Her vulnerability in the moment was palpable, and viewers were left wondering just how much of her own personal sacrifice had been involved in this marriage, especially when it came to her children. PK's absence, whether it was physical or emotional, had clearly been a pattern for Dorit. She had not only stepped up as the primary caretaker, but also worked to maintain the illusion that PK was always present and involved, even when he wasn't. And yet, in that confessional, Dorit wasn't attacking him. She wasn't vilifying him. She was simply sharing her reality, which was, at times, painful. Later on in The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills after show, Dorit continued to reflect on her complicated feelings towards PK and his role as a father. She made it clear that, despite her public comments, she didn't think he was a bad father. Quite the opposite, in fact. Do I think PK is a bad father? No, not at all. Do I think he's a good father? Yes, I do. Truly, he's not the most hands-on father, but there are many different ways to be a good father, Dorit clarified. She went on to explain the complexity of her emotions further. I feel very lucky that my kids have PK as their father, she added. This statement wasn't made out of obligation, but rather out of a deep, abiding love for her children, and perhaps a reminder to herself of the parts of PK that she still cherished. The truth, however, was more layered than either of them had initially imagined. In that moment, Dorit was not just grappling with her feelings about PK, but also the internal struggle she felt as a mother trying to do right by her children. She acknowledged that every decision she made, even amid their separation, was centered around ensuring her kids' well-being. The welfare of Jagger and Phoenix, their young son and daughter, was always her top priority. But, as Dorit admitted, there was still a lot of emotional complexity in her words and actions. In that moment, that's what came out of my mouth, and it's how I felt because, for me, everything that I do and the decisions that I make, even in our separation, there is never a moment that I don't consider what's best for the kids. Her words were filled with a raw honesty, and it was clear that she carried the weight of this separation with a sense of duty that extended far beyond her own personal emotions. She was trying to make sense of her feelings and, at the same time, protect her children from any unnecessary harm or confusion. In a surprising twist of vulnerability, Dorit also admitted that she regretted the statement she had made earlier that evening. It's one of those things, if I'm honest, that I didn't feel great about the next day, she shared. It was a candid acknowledgement of the pressure she felt, not just as a mother, but as a wife, and now as a woman navigating the complexities of separation while protecting her family from the public eye. Dorit's regret was not simply about the words she had spoken, but also about the emotional weight she carried in her marriage. Her regret wasn't just about defending her husband in ways that weren't always fair to herself, but about the complexity of a life lived in the spotlight. It was a reflection of the challenges she faced as a wife, mother, and public figure all rolled into one. Throughout the season, Dorit had shown flashes of the persona she had created for herself, glamorous, elegant, and seemingly confident. But moments like these gave the audience a deeper look into the woman behind the image. Dorit Kemsley and Paul P.K. Kemsley have 2 children together, son Jagger, who is 10, and daughter Phoenix, who is 8. PK also has 3 children from a previous marriage, daughters Atlanta and Tatum, and a son named Daniel. The dynamics between these blended families were complex enough without the added pressure of their separation becoming a public spectacle. It was clear, however, that despite their differences, Dorit had always tried her best to shield her children from the fallout. In episode 9, Dorit revealed how their son Jagger had found out about the separation, which had unfolded in a way no parent would have wished.